Hello gang, good to see y'all again. Of course, if you're tuning in for the first time, I am the Articulate Grunt. Welcome to my channel. Affluenza, what is it? Well, if you remember back in the 80s and 90s, a bunch of people were staying out of jail off a legal defense termed Black Rage. I won't go into specifics, you can look it up if you want to. Well, now we have affluenza. What it is that it turns out that someone can be raised in such a coddled, sheltered, provided for environment that they don't know right from wrong. The Texas court has now upheld this in a case where a 17-year-old young man with a blood alcohol content 3 times the legal limit, going 70 and a 45, struck a stranded motor car that people were helping to push out of the way. He killed 4 people, injured 12 more, and has been given 10 years probation. That's right, because he was raised in such a rich, affluent, therefore affluenza, environment that he was so coddled and spoiled that he did not know right from wrong. He will be serving no jail time. He will have 10 years probation. Needless to say, the families were outraged, and if anything, we get one good point out of this. It's brought Republican and Democratic representatives and politicians together in Texas saying, this is bullshit, this is wrong, this needs to be fixed. As a matter of fact, the state attorney general is looking into whether or not further legal action can be pursued, or even if the judge's decision can be overturned. Moving on to a piece of news involving a news agency, Japan's NHK, which is supposed to be a neutral, unbiased news presentation agency, similar to the United Kingdom's BBC or America's... yeah, we'll skip that. Has begun rewriting history once again to go with a certain mindset of political parties in Japan. Effectively, rewriting history showed that not only was Japan not at fault for World War II, but they were suckered and drawn in, baited in, to liberate and save Asian people from white imperialism, and that crimes such as the rape and massacre of the city of Nanking, look it up, I'm not going to get into it, it's pretty nasty, the use of POWs as bayonet training targets for Japanese soldiers, where they would commonly tie the thumbs together behind their backs, put a piece of cord across the ankles so they couldn't run real fast, but then have them hobble and hop around, and the Japanese soldier basically had to bayonet them to death, and they were timed, how good, how effective were they? Yeah. They didn't happen. They're just fabricated lies by the West to further guilt trip Japan into behaving themselves. On another line of rewriting history and fabricating historical facts, they've also started presenting how Japan's use of captured women as morale officers in sex slave operations was a common practice by all nations of the time, and therefore was not wrong. That even the U.S. and the Western powers commonly did so, especially with young girls of teenage persuasions. So, and a final third angle they're working on is the preparations to challenge Japan's constitutional ban on collective defense. Basically the pillar of Japan's post-war pacifism. It's what governs and regulates everything towards Japan's military. So, I guess the victor doesn't always write history. I guess sometimes the loser rewrites it once they get to this where they feel comfortable doing so. And in our final point for the video, John R. Morales, which anyone growing up in the 80s and 90s is very familiar with his voice, McGruff the crime dog, proved himself to not be a stranger anymore, but still to be very dangerous to the court system, as he has been sentenced to 16 years in jail because, a warrant having been served and a search conducted on his home, 1,000 pot plants were found in 2 separate greenhouse growing environments, along with 9,000 rounds of ammunition and 27 firearms, among them a 40mm grenade launcher, which he claims he was holding for a friend. You think he would have known better. I mean, drugs and guns were 2 of the big things that just weren't good and didn't go good together. That was one of the big pushes of McGruff the crime dog, along with strangers being dangerous. Oh, we knew him. He was still dangerous. So, I am the Articulate Grunt. Get up, look around. If there's a fight worth fighting, someplace you can help out, and it's worth the possible loss, get up and do it. Because if you don't, and someone else does, you can't really complain how they screwed it up if they didn't do it the way you like it. Take care, leave your comments, likes, and dislikes down below, and I will catch you later. Bye.